right, welcome to the Great American Beer Fest, all ye Minneapolis folk.
Welcome, indeed. So we are at the 2013 Great American Beer Fest in Denver. So here's the deal. I just spent the last 3 years writing a guidebook to breweries in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Illinois. I've been tracking those breweries really hardcore for those past 3 years. And yet, I'm going through the program here, getting ready to do interviews at the fest, and I'm looking through going, well, there's one I've never heard of. There's one I've never heard of. And I'm standing in the booth right now of one of those breweries that I've never heard of. I'm with Henry Schwartz of Mobcraft Brewing. Where is Mobcraft?
Mobcraft Beer is out of Madison, Wisconsin. We're right off of Stoughton Road in the Beltline.
So I was just in Madison for Great Taste. You guys were not there.
Nope, we are a very baby brewery. We opened up in June, so didn't quite make it into the fest this year. But we were at Quivy's Grove just last weekend.
So tell me how did Mobcraft come about?
So two of us are entrepreneurship students at Whitewater. Another of our partners is a microbiology grad. And
that would be, UW Whitewater?
UW Whitewater, yes, and UW Madison for the micro guy. And we toyed around with the idea. We were entrepreneurs, so I said, we got to open up a business. We really love making beer. We've been home brewing for a while, so we should open up a brewery. But we have to do something that's really different. So we thought of business models we'd heard of throughout college and settled on crowdsourcing. We thought, hey, wouldn't it be awesome to crowdsource all of our beers and let our beer drinkers decide the beers that we make every month? So we toyed around with that a little bit and developed the model that we're running today.
So is that where the name Mobcraft comes from?
Yep, so it's the mob of patrons coming around, the mob of craft beer lovers and the craft beer producers coming together to create awesome craft beers.
So kind of mob rule in a way.
Yeah, definitely.
So opening a brewery is not something that you just do on a whim, really. So what made you think as entrepreneurs and homebrewers that opening a brewery was a good idea?
Well, we've seen the industry. We've seen everybody's love for craft beer, and we've seen that across the board. Breweries make really cool beer, but in small quantities. They have their whole flagship lines that people are consuming, day to day at bars across the U.S. And we said, let's start off a really small brewery, stay lean, only make really small batches of just crazy beer, just using unique ingredients, kind of pushing the limits of what beer is. So there's a lot of traditional people out there who are saying, oh man, you're putting XYZ in an IPA. Just stick to hops here. But then there's also a neck of really unique craft beer lovers who want to try all sorts of crazy flavors. And that's really the people that we like making beers for.
So I've had two of your beers right now. So I had a coffee brown ale, and right now I've got something that you call Foco Juniper. Explain this beer to me.
Last year we were patrons of the Great American Beer Fest, coming out just to sample some of the beers from around the U.S. and made it up to Fort Collins. Picked some juniper berries out of a friend's front yard and thought, hey, let's make a beer out of these when we get home. So we were homebrewers back then. We still are today as well. But decided, hey, we should carry this beer on and do it commercially as well. So took that exact same recipe as homebrewers and just kind of scaled it up and produced that for the fest.
Cool. You do really get a definite juniper berry flavor in this. It's not over the top, but it is pronounced. It's quite pleasant. I'm a fan of juniper in beer. So you're making these kind of over-the-top beers, or not over-the-top, because I haven't had anything that seemed over-the-top, but using unique ingredients and doing kind of stretching styles. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, stretching styles, but then at the end of the day, it comes down to what the consumer wants. Every month we have a vote. We have 4 beers that people have made up the ideas for. We put them up for a vote, and people cash their chips towards the beer they want us to brew. So it ranges anywhere from a standard IPA all the way up to a date-spiced barley wine aged on vanilla beans and then in brandy barrels.
So how does this vote work? Is this people that come into your place, or is it online? Or
Yep, everything happens online. You can log on to mobcraftbeer.com to submit an idea. We have a submit tab, and then the first week of every month, we're extending it a little bit for the beer fest this week, but you can vote for a top 4 beers, and we determine those top 4 beers by tracking their social popularity. So if you submit a beer, we give you back the recipe. We say, hey, this is your baby. Share it with everybody. The beer with the top 4 beers with the most social interactions are the ones that make it into the next round. So you can share it with your mom, your grandma, your friends, for that to have the potential to be brewed on a 10-barrel batch.
Cool. That's kind of a cool idea. I like the sound of that. Well, I appreciate you giving me some of your time here and getting to know your brewery.